No one left behind is more than a standard we all live up to. It is a way of life. It is part of our mission. If you or someone you know finds themselves struggling with their mental health, please contact the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988 on your mobile phone or text 838 255 to speak or chat with a qualified counselor. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Run for the Wall podcast, where on Fridays we wear red, right?
That's right. Fridays is RED. Remember everyone deployed.
Now, I'm not trying to put anyone out there, but someone on your screen right now showed up not wearing red. And then
who would that be?
And then they were all, OMG, let me go change because everyone else has on red. I don't
know. Yeah, that'd be you.
Who could it be? No, but welcome to the Run for the Wall podcast. If this is your first time joining us, all you FNGs out there, we are the largest and longest running cross-country motorcycle run in support of POWs, KIAs, veterans, MIA, and we're just here to do our part in carrying on the mission and raising awareness. And since last episode, you all had the pleasure of only having Boots and I. We have two guests for you today.
That's right. We're catching it up in the air here.
So if you haven't met us yet, I'm Hitch, and that's Boots. And today we are joined with Corey Lederer, who is actually on the board of directors with us. And his twin, no, I said they were twins because they were just acting like so in sync before we pressed record. But father-in-law, correct? Father-in-law, Wendall Pelham, and they will share their journey and their story to Run for the Wall. But they are a Gold Star family, and we will be talking about what a Gold Star family is for those of you who may not know. So,
yeah, we'll be getting into all that. And before we get started, I just wanted to ask, is it May yet?
We are less than 60 days to kickstands up. Okay.
Yeah.
I
heard something pretty cool. I was talking to someone on Run for the Wall this week, just a couple of days ago. And we always greet each other with, is it May yet? Cause we all want to go ride. We want to ride this mission. But this person said to me, when you're as involved in Veterans Affairs and Run for the Wall as I am, every day is May.
Yeah.
I love that. Yep. Every day is May. Because what that means to us on Run for the Wall is it's about our mission. And that's why we do this. That's why we ride every year from Ontario, California to Washington, D.C., and then again from Washington, D.C. to Marseilles, Illinois, to honor our veterans and to honor those who are KIA, MIA. It's really important to us.
Yeah, thanks, Boots. So let's see here. Sponsors. Yeah. Who do we have for sponsors today?
Yeah. Well, as always, I want to plug Fuller Law. Chad has been so helpful donating legal counsel for Run for the Wall. If you or somebody you know is in a motorcycle accident or needs legal advice, call 1-855-FULLER-LAW. That's FULLERLAW. Or go to fullerlawforriders.com on the internet. We're getting close to showing up in Ontario. And so I want to give a shout out to the Greater Ontario Convention and Visitors Bureau for rolling out the red carpet every year as they do. Just submitted all the graphics for all the signs that are going to be around Ontario. And we got so many people working on all this stuff. Carol, who works tirelessly on this. But thanks to the Greater Ontario Convention and Visitors Bureau for welcoming us each year. Also, our hydration sponsors, Pepsi and Coca-Cola, both companies provide product for us to give free of charge to the riders. We've got the hydration trailers on all the routes. Our newest sponsor, AMSOIL. AMSOIL provides synthetic motor oil and products for power sports and automobile and heavy equipment industries. AMSOIL has donated a ton of products that are going to be for sale during Run for the Wall in our merchandise trailers. We finally worked all that out, and those products, we're going to price them really, almost giving them away. The price is going to be great, but if you need a quart of oil while you're on Run for the Wall, or an oil filter, or you need to top up your coolant, we're going to have a bunch of AMSOIL products for sale in the merchandise trailers. So don't worry. And we've got stuff for American V twins and metric bikes, European bikes. We've got all kinds of different products that will be available. So thank you to AMSOIL. Can't thank them enough for that.
Yeah, we may also have some cool swag raffles.
We definitely, they're sending us a bunch of hats and shirts, and I don't know all what the swag is, but that's going to go to the promotions team, and we're going to be using those for raffle items and spiffs and stuff like that.
Cool. All right, so continuing on with sponsors, I do want to highlight some of the people who have been supporting Run for the Wall across our 4 routes over the past several years, particularly last year. First, shout out to Midway's coordinator, Ed. I was talking to him this morning so that he can get me a list. Like, I sent him an email and he literally shot me a message right back as we were prepping. So I will have more information on Midway sponsors. But for today, Midway route sponsor, Christian Heritage Church in Amarillo, Texas. I know that that's one of the locations that is provided for dinner. So shout out to them. Thanks for your support. Sandbox route, the West Virginia State Police Troop 1 have been supportive to Run for the Wall. Central Routes American Legion Post 37 in Arizona, and that's city of Gallup, New Mexico. Yep. And then on Southern Route, out of Coachella, California, they have Lifestyle Cycle, the TA Truck Stop, Spotlight 29 Casino, Stater Brothers Charities, and Captain Ray Cadelis of the 29 Palms Band, and Mission Indian. So those are our sponsors for today who've been involved in helping us make this happen.
And actually, while we're on that topic, I made some notes for myself. Okay. I wanted to remind everyone about Ontario. A lot of the activity in Ontario is going to be taking place at the Elks Lodge. And so, they let us have that entire facility for meetings, for check-in, registration check-in, all that stuff. But they're also doing meals for the riders. So please remember to support the Elks. Get your meals there. The food is excellent. I ate there last year. It's awesome. And make sure you thank the Elks when we're there, and just be gracious, because without them,
and that's for how many days that they let us set up shop?
I think we set up on Saturday, and we're there Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Tuesday. So 4 days. We basically Run for the Wall takes over the entire Elks Lodge there. Yeah. So thank you to the Elks very much. We appreciate that. And remember, Run for the Wall riders, their bar is open. So if you're not riding and you want to have a beverage, and also the food there is excellent. Yep. Let's support them.
All right. Run for the Wall news and events. Well, again, less than 60 days. So registration is open. If you have not registered, let's get registered. We're continuing to take a look at those numbers weekly, and they're going up. So let's keep it going. I know we've gotten feedback from people who said that they've known people, friends, family who were kind of on the fence, and after listening to the podcast, it's like, oh, I'm locked in. Like, I have all this information, I'm locked in, I'm registered, I'm going. So, hey, let's get ready for those kickstands to go up on Midway Route May 13th, and then Southern and Central on the 14th, and then Sandbox on Sunday, May 25th.
That's right. And you want to make your hotel reservations. If you haven't done it, make them now. The hotel lists are on the website, rftw.us. We've got negotiated room rates, but remember, those blocked off rooms are going to expire April 1st. I'm sorry, end of April, last day of April. So make your hotel reservations now. A couple people told me on Central Route that all the rooms in Eagle Nest, Angel Fire area, that's day 3 of Central Route, that there's no more rooms up there. I called, and that is not correct information. That's fake news. The real news is that there are rooms available. So I know at the Angel Fire Resort, for one, there's rooms there. So if you're on the fence and you're thinking, no, I'm not going to go because I can't get a room there, there's rooms. I double checked it, so you could do it. Some of the routes still need volunteers. I know Midway's still looking for a few road guards. So, hey, if you want to step it up a little bit and you're a throttle twister, let us know. We'll connect you with Wind Dog and get you on the road guard crew. What else do we got going on here? Other volunteer positions. There's still a few open, and if you want to volunteer and be part of it, fill out a volunteer form on the website. Big one. The board of directors is still looking for somebody to fill the treasurer position. That position will open up in August, and we need someone to step up because that's a very, very important job.
I was going to say, it's just a little bit important. just a little bit.
So if you're thinking you might want to be part of this, it's, I'll be honest, being on the board of directors takes a bit of time. And sometimes you got to have some thick skin. But, if you believe in the mission and you want to sustain this out into the future so that, someday your grandkids can be doing this, come on and join us on the board of directors. Let's see. What else do we got here?
Trifolds? You still have something to send out?
Oh, no. I've sent them all out. We are done. Thank you, everybody who asked me for the trifold brochures. We've gotten those out to all points, so that's good. Wanted to talk about.
I found a very small stash of trifolds in my backpack a couple of days. When I say small, I mean like very small, because I had separated them when I was giving them out. So I still had maybe like 10. And I was in Springfield, Virginia yesterday because it was my bonus daughter's birthday. So we were in Springfield, where the route would be ending this year. And I went over to Cycle Gear and dropped some over there.
How much money did you drop at Cycle Gear?
We were on a mission.
Oh my gosh.
No, so we were literally only in the shopping center to pick up a birthday cake. And I was like, hey, Diego, can you run me to Cycle Gear right quick? I just need to drop off some trifolds. He was like, do you even have any with you? I do, because I checked my backpack before we left the house. So I was
if I go to Cycle Gear, it's all over.
I didn't even look at anything. I was just like, find a person to talk to, do my spiel, and get out of there.
Yeah, I'm a motorcycle gear junkie. I mean, I can't make it in and out of Cycle Gear without buying something. Yeah, it's bad.
I didn't want to get in trouble. So,
all right, let me talk about a few other things. We've got Arizona Bike Week is coming up, and there's going to be the Combat Hero Bike Build presentation. So if you're, in the Arizona area, or, maybe just, even if you're in California, it's not that far to ride out here. Jordan Maynard will receive a custom-built motorcycle at American Legion Post 34 in Cave Creek, Arizona, also known as Caved In Creek.
Wait a minute.
There he goes. What?
Never mind. I'm like, why?
Long story. Cave Creek, there's going to be a DJ from 1 to 5, presentation at 2 p.m. Food truck's going to be out there. If you haven't been to Arizona Bike Week, it's a lot of fun. So hopefully you can make it out to that and support the Combat Heroes Bike Build, because that is another very, very important organization, and we want to support them as much as possible. Let's see. I've got some notes here.
Where are we with the booklets? What's the release date on the itinerary, the route itinerary booklets? Do we have an update?
We had a board meeting last night, and virtually all of the Corey, you can help me on this. I think all of the daily route itinerary booklets are in their very final stages. Right. So, I would say probably in the next 2 weeks, you'll see the first version available on the website. But keep reading the newsletters from the route coordinator for whatever route you're on, because that's going to have the latest and greatest on that. And on that, fuel stickers. I get a lot of questions about fuel stickers. So again, they are starting to become available, the prepaid fuel, for some of the routes. I know that Southern route, you can send a check or you can pay by Zelle, and go check out Lenny's latest newsletter for information on that. That's just off the top of my head here. And then I know for Central route operates a little differently. They're cash only, and you're going to have to buy your prepaid fuel sticker in Ontario. And I already saw the design for that sticker, and it's pretty cool. So,
and Sandbox Boots, Sandbox is prepay only.
That's year. Right. Yeah.
And check out Cobb's posting on Sandbox Route for the information on how to prepay.
Corey, can you scoot over just a little bit? I think to your right. Yeah, make the other way. Scoot your chair over closer to your best bud. There we go. Now I can see your face. Okay. I just want to make sure that afterwards, it's not, people aren't like, wait, I don't see him. Yeah. Awesome. So we have
prepaid fuel info. Also, that's prepaid fuel. We also have local meetups here and there and everywhere in Arizona, Colorado, Northern California, Southern California, Washington, D.C., Texas, everywhere. Check out the forum at forum.rftw.us for a local meetup near you. And if there isn't one near you, start one. I'll help you. You can email me at pod@rftw.us, and we'll get you going. Or go through the forum, because you can shoot a message at me there too. What else do we got? Runs to the Run. All that information's on the forum. Route communications. If you've been following along, you know that we have moved to GMRS instead of CB. It's way better. And there's, again, a ton of information on GMRS radios, which one to buy, discounts available, how to program it, how to mount it to your bike. It's kind of one of those things where everybody's got their own special way of mounting them. And I thought I came up with the best way, but I've seen some mounting. I've seen some pictures of people who came up with mounts that are fantastic. So, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah, and I had a buddy 3D print my mount. So everybody came up with a different way.
Sweet. We can all compare notes in May.
It's into a RAM mount. He did a great job. In fact, I should post that on.
You should. That's great. All right. Are we at Why We Ride?
We are, Boots. So who do you have for us today?
Well, this one's going to make me nervous to read. And you'll know why in a minute. Let me get this set up, and I'm going to share my screen. Hang tight with me for just a second here. And we're getting set up. The screen share is a little funny here. There we go. Oh, it doesn't want to share for some reason. Huh. That's very interesting.
Yeah, that's a first.
I don't know why it won't do that. Hang on just a second. There we go. I got it. Okay.
All right, we got it.
We got it. Today we remember John Alexander Pelham, killed in action, 2nd Battalion, 3rd Special Forces Group, Airborne. John Pelham enlisted in the United States Army in July 2011. He received initial entry training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and advanced individual training at Goodfellow Air Force Base in Texas. After completing AIT, John received special training in signal intelligence analysis and completed airborne school. He was assigned to the 2nd Battalion, 3rd Special Forces Group A out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, as a signal intelligence analyst. John was responsible for collecting electronic intelligence on enemy forces to determine their movement and intentions. John deployed with the 3rd Special Forces Group to Afghanistan in October 2013. During his second deployment in 2014, he and his fellow soldiers found themselves facing resistance from enemy forces. On February 12, 2014, while on patrol in Kapisa Province, Afghanistan, John and his fellow soldiers were attacked by insurgents disguised as Afghan security forces. During the ensuing firefight, John and a fellow member of the unit were killed. John earned a Bronze Star and Purple Heart, the Army Commendation Medal, the Joint Service Achievement Medal, and the National Defense Service Medal. John, you will never be forgotten. John's name is on the Middle East Conflicts Memorial Wall in Marseilles, Illinois, on panel 1E, row 1. There's also a foundation that was established in his name called Live Like John at livelikejohn.us. It is not the worst thing to be missing in war. It is not the worst thing to be lost in war. The worst thing is to be forgotten in war. Say their names, tell their stories, never forget. John Pelham, on behalf of a grateful nation and with a heavy heart, we thank you for your service.
Thank you, Boots. So
Now,
yeah.
Corey and Wendall, why don't you take a moment? Wendall, tell us about your son.
Mhm.
Corey, tell us about your brother-in-law.
Brother's fine. Go ahead.
Well, I think you summed it up, Ted. We strive to never forget, but I mean, John's just one of thousands, and each of those stories is unique. And I think one of the special things that we've learned is that it doesn't matter if you served, you're a veteran, if you were killed, if you're still missing, every family has a story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing to see what those individual stories really sum up to. Everyone I've talked to, and it's hundreds of people, and Wendell's talked to thousands, everybody has their story. And one of the things that we did as a family is we tried not to be angry at the Army. We realized that would not do any good. It's not the Army's fault. It's not the military's fault. He was killed, and what do we do to push forward his legacy and the legacy of all those who were killed or who are still missing? And being angry at the Army or the Navy or the Marine Corps or the Air Force, that doesn't do any good. It doesn't push the stories of their service and their sacrifice. If you're angry because a family member was killed, all that does is it silences their story. Mm-hmm. And we decided to amplify John's story, but in amplifying his story, I think we amplify everyone's story.
So. Yeah. Yeah.
So John, so I grew up in the Army. I have 5 siblings. 3 of us were born at Fort Irwin, so now the National Training Center. 1 was born in Korea, 1 was born in Maryland, and 1 was born in Germany. And so at the time that I lived with my parents, we lived in all those places and then a few others. And out of my brothers and my sister, my oldest brother served my dad served for about 35 years. My oldest brother served in the Ranger Regiment for 18. And then out of our children, so those were none of my other brothers and I served. And yet along comes our 6 children, and the 4th, which is John, so 2 daughters and the 4 sons, comes John. And we knew from the very beginning, I mean, when he was like 3 or 4 years old, he'd run around the yard in cowboy boots, a pair of shorts, 6 shooters with pearl handles on both hips, like that, and a vest. And so, we have come to understand that if you allow your children to be who they are and where they want to be, they'll tell you early on what their life's going to look like. Well, John wanted to be a warfighter. John wanted to be putting bad guys in the dirt. I know that doesn't sound very politically correct these days, but when you look at the motto for the 2nd Battalion of the 3rd Special Forces Group, which is the Bush Hogs, their motto is, "We do bad things to bad people."
Yeah.
So there you have it. And so, when John joined the service, when he joined the Army, and then he took this course as his mission, we came to the realization that he was exactly where he wanted to be, needed to be, and would be the best at. And so, when we did get the notification that he'd been killed, I've been asked, I don't know how many times, what it felt like. And I'm like, take a kick in the groin, then one in the throat, and then one in the nose, and you might have an idea of the pain that it causes. But in John's honor, like Corey was saying, we've never looked at this as someone's fault. We've always looked at it as an honor that John got to serve, and he got to do the thing that he was the most passionate about. As a signals intelligence analyst, he got to hunt and then put teams on target. So you go back to the days when he was running around my front yard in the cowboy outfit, to the day he was killed when he's fully kitted and in a firefight. Each of us is going to leave this earth somehow. Our prayer is that you leave when you get to go, because it is you get to go, that you're doing the thing that you were the most passionate about at that time. And that's John. And that's how we see his life and his legacy. And so, we have no ill towards anyone or anything. I mean, I got asked once upon a time by the mother of another fallen hero, do I hate the guy that killed my boy? I went, no, ma'am, I don't. I mean, if the shoe literally or the boot had been on the other foot, and John had the drop on him, we'd be having a different conversation. That's a little bit about why John and why we're here talking today is his legacy and the legacies of thousands of our fallen heroes, our missing in actions, our POWs, those who have paid a price up to and including the ultimate sacrifice, so that we have days like today where we get to sit and visit and share our stories with all those who want to hear it.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about the foundation, Live Like John? I went through that website and took a good look at it, and I like the quote there, "Let's go out with our guns blazing and our boots on." That's on the website. But tell us about the foundation and why you put it together and what it does and how people can help out and get involved.
Well, thank you. So a few days, literally 3 or 4 days later, after John was killed and we were notified, a group of his high school friends got together and were having lunch. And in that conversation, one of the young men said, "This is one of those clarion moments in our lives. What are we going to do with it?" And he said, and in my case, I'm going to live more intentionally. So I'm going to live more like John. So that was the genesis, live more like John. And then one of the young ladies at the table said, well, that's cool. So live like John. And they all at the table were like, yeah, okay, whatever. And so this young lady went out and took it upon herself to create wristbands. And the first one in her thought process, like most of us, would be, let's do a red, white, and blue wristband, something about John. Well, she got it back and she despised it because the red, white, and blue didn't mean anything. There was no flag. There was no geometric shape that would lead us to think it was a flag. So she went out and got this camo bracelet. Go the other way, Wendell?
Yeah.
This says, live like John. And on the backside is his birth date and death date.
Okay.
And so she went out and had these made. Well, it's been 11 years and a month. Sorry for being exact. 11 years and a month. And we've gone through 4,000 of these wristbands.
And I bring a whole bag of them to the run, and I will have as many as I can. And what we do is we put them on the brake reservoir. So
take your time.
You're good.
That's why we do this. This is why we ride.
when you're riding, you can look down at your brake reservoir. You know why you're riding. And you know how special it is. Like what you said, Ted, it's because of these folks that we are able to do this. And when you have that wristband on your brake reservoir, it reminds you of why we ride.
So that wristband now is all over the world. So the third party at the table decided that, oh my heavens, this would be a really cool idea. So then this other individual decided to put together an Instagram page, and the title is Where, WEAR, in the world is John.
Mm-hmm.
And so these wristbands have shown up in a bay at Guam.
Wow.
One of John's friends served. And so he was a swimmer, diver. So he took the wristband down and set it on a rock in the bay and took a picture of it. And that's on there. There is a story, a story of an individual who, when airline flights were available to go down to an island south of the tip of Florida, this individual got on a plane and flew to that specific island and took a picture in front of the airport and immediately got the next flight back to the U.S. They're on beer bottles, wine bottles. They're on mountainsides. They're in pastures. They're on hunting camps, literally all over the world. And so the idea behind Live Like John is when these three young adults got together and were commiserating about John's death, and they came up with Live Like John, we thought, what a phenomenal title. And then we had, for the first 3 years, we had a really cool flag patch that says Live Like John on it, but you could never read the print because it was all meshed into the fabric.
You have a copy of it right here, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's the flag patch that we originally had. Beautiful patch, but a little hard to read.
So that was our first logo. And then the second logo that we had created was from another one of John's classmates. And she's a graphics artist, and she's the wife of a Navy officer. And so that is the logo that she designed.
Yeah, that's the one on the website.
Yeah. And so, we talk about these legacies. We talk about these beautiful human beings. And so the foundation's original intent was to help support and take care of Gold Star families, to work with our veteran population, and help in both cases. Gold Star families go through a different life from the time that their loved one is killed going forward. And the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, the financial stages are no different for us than for anyone else that loses a loved one, whether it's cancer or a car accident or hunting, fishing, outdoors accident. We all will grieve and we all will feel the pain. And so the Live Like John Foundation was designed to help with those processes. So, quick note. 3 weeks ago, I get a call from a brother out of Fort Bragg. And we're having a conversation because he's the one that does our swag. And he said, "Hey, by the way, I need to ask you a question." And I went, and he kind of hemmed and hawed, as most people do, because they're uncomfortable with the question they're about to ask, which is, "We need monies." And I went, "So how much money do you need, and what are we talking about, and who is it for?" And he goes, "How'd you know?" And I went, "Brother, we all hesitate to ask for money when we shouldn't. We should just be," ooh, that was close. "We should just have the ability to say, 'Can you help?'" And so he asked, "Can we help?" And I went, "What do you need?" So this sweet mom, wife, and 3 children lost their Green Beret husband, father, and the medical process is not quick enough for any of us, I believe, and we can go into that later, on the mental health side. And so one of the daughters, the youngest daughter, is struggling with why. Why me? Why now? Why my dad? Why us? So I got a chance to talk to the wife. And I said, "So what is it? What can we do?" And the long answer is, or the short answer is this: the sessions are $100 a piece for mental health for this child. So I said, "Hey, I'll tell you what, I'm putting a check, FedExing it to you right now. We'll put in $1,000 to start. That'll get your daughter into 10 sessions. Let me know how that works for you, and then we'll proceed." Every year we'll be going to Fort Bragg for Memorial Week. Live Like John, in essence, John Pelham gets to fund all the roses for the rose laying ceremony on the stones for the 60 fallen heroes of third group. We get to take care of the families that are there with a luncheon. We get to help pay for the bagpipers. We get to help fly families in. So that's John's legacy, is how do we maintain not just John's, but all of the legacies. My dad's 35 years, deployments all over the world. My brother jumped into all sorts of different places in his career as a ranger. Now, my dad, my brother, and my son are all deceased. And so it makes the mission even more important that we fulfill their missions, although they're not here. And so that's what Live Like John gets to do. We're having a big, his local high school. So the picture you put up earlier, the baseball spot. This will be the 8th annual Specialist John A. Pelham Memorial Baseball Game. And it gets news coverage. It gets blasted. It is phenomenal. And we get to speak to the home team, which is John's school. But every year I take the opportunity to go quickly to the other dugout and talk to those young men and about serving and what their missions are.
That's fantastic. When is that game?
That will be May 18th this year.
Okay. So
Friday
we'll be on the run.
Yeah. And that's what's really cool, because there's a number of Patriot Guard riders here in Portland that can't make the run. And so they come and are out on, April 18th. April 18th.
April. Okay.
April 18th. And they come out and run the field. They bring the bikes out on the field and rev them up, and the fans are like, "Oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing since sliced bread," because they get to see. Americans are really good at having definitions in their own minds. Be polite about that.
Yeah.
But they get to see big, burly, bearded, wonderful, God-fearing, life-living human beings ride these big old bikes out onto the turf, and these kids' eyes get this big, and some of the adults' eyes get this big, and then they see who these people are, and we blow this stigma in the stereotypical thought process that bikers are big, they're bad, they're ugly, they carry guns, and blah blah blah. No, they're breathing human beings that love their country and each other, and so that's part of John's legacy. So I made the statement at John's funeral, and when I said it, I don't know where it came from, don't know why it ever came out of my mouth. But one was, go out with your guns blazing and your boots on. The other one was, John's life and John's legacy would be bigger in death than it ever was in life. Now, to put it in perspective, because of John, we get to do these things. We get to share his story and the others that he died with and the others he served with, from whatever war and ever conflict up through today. And that statement has now become a reality. His legacy is bigger than he would have been if he had lived. So that's what Live Like John is and what we do. And, we have the website, livelikejohn.us. Take a look at it. If you find something on there that you think that we can improve on, please let us know. If you find things on there that make your heart happy, please let us know. If you find something on there that makes you kind of go, let us know.
And I think it goes, there's other stories, and there's other meaning behind Live Like John. And there's a couple stories that came out from his high school friends that, we've all experienced bullying in one form or another. I was bullied in junior high school, and there are several stories where he stood up for the little guy, and I think that we need more of that. And so when I think about what is Live Like John, I echo everything that Wendall said. But it also goes super deep. Live Like John is not just about his and others' military services. It's about living your life in a manner that you lift up those around you. You fight for the little guy. You don't let those. Don't let those bullies, don't let them win. There's a story that, I don't know if it's true or not, I think it is, where this young kid was being bullied in high school. And John was what, 6'4"?
6'2".
6'2".
Wow.
Built like a brick house. 240, something like that? 220?
It was 240. Then they came to him and said, "Hey, you're too big. You need to get down." So he dropped to 225, which made him even more challenged and shredded.
Yeah. So there's a story about a kid who was being bullied. And John brought that kid to the cool kids table. And he didn't have to say a word. when that bullied kid was sitting at the cool kids table. that little guy, from that point forward, that kid was untouchable. And I think that's part of the legacy that we want to share, is when you stand up for the little guy and the little girl, doesn't matter. When you stand up for those kids who are kind of defenseless, you are living your life to the fullest. And when I was bullied in school, there was a kid, he kind of dressed like Fonzie, and this kid was tough. And if y'all remember Fonzie from Happy Days.
Of course, yeah.
And there was an incident where I was being bullied pretty hard, and this kid walked around the corner and saw the bully. And at that point forward, he was my John.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get emotional, but I experienced what it means to be the little guy. And I also understand firsthand what it means to have someone, perfect stranger to this kid, when John took him under his shoulder. When you stand up for the little guy, you are creating a better world, and you are absolutely serving, and you are uplifting. And I think that's part of that message about what we want to convey about Live Like John is, of course, it's way bigger than him.
Mm-hmm.
It's those who serve and those who make those sacrifices to protect. And does that mean protecting the little guy? Absolutely. Does that mean protecting the country? Absolutely. The story is just so much bigger than what we could convey in a few short minutes.
And to Corey's point, John never went about his life as like a lot of us. We go forward in our lives or sideways in our lives because we think we have to be bigger, better, faster, stronger in comparison to everybody around us. Well, that's a crock of crap. We need to be like John in the sense that John's goal, John's mission, from the time he was born till the time he died, he was always anxious, not hyper anxious, but anxiously engaged in what's next. What are we doing? How are we going to do this? And moving forward. And it was always geared towards, how does this create, and I don't think he even knew this until high school. How do we create the best, in his mind, how do I create the best John Pelham? Not in competition with anybody else. He could give a rat's rear end about what other people thought, what other people felt, when he figured it out. And so his mission was, partially, to be the best John Pelham. How can I be the best athlete? How can I be the best human being? How can I be the best boyfriend? How can I be the best son? And so it is ironic that the unit that he goes to serve with in the United States Army, the Special Forces motto is "De oppressa liber," or translated in English from Latin is "to free the oppressed." So you go from being a bully stopper to a unit that its worldwide mission is to free the oppressed. That doesn't happen by chance. That was providence that he was with them.
Yeah, that is.
So I have a question.
So go ahead.
I know it's like I wanted to do this a little out of order because you all gave us, such a great background of John, and just what the Live Like John, his legacy and what it all means. And, you have at the bottom of the screen that you all are a Gold Star family. How how do you define for people who don't know what a Gold Star family is? I feel like they may get the picture at this, by now, but what exactly is a Gold Star family?
You want the definition by which the Department of Defense
First.
sets out for you?
Yeah, give us all of it.
Okay, so backstory. Because of John.
Okay.
Now, I mentioned earlier on, I never got to serve. When I decided to pull my head out of my rear end and enlist in the U.S. Army, I wanted to fly Apaches.
Okay.
Not being an intelligent human being at that moment, I didn't realize that Apaches, you have a pedal and you have a stick. Well, the recruiter said, dude, I love you with all my heart. I love the fact that you want to join. I love the fact that your dad's in and your brother's in, but there's not a snowball's chance in hell you're going to get to join because I don't have a waiver book deep enough to get you past all the waivers you need. I had a left knee reconstruction and a right thumb reconstruction. So that shot that out. Then I had an eye surgery, which shot out most everything else. So I got told politely, bye-bye, have a nice day. And so when John got killed a few years later, we're in Washington, D.C. So Corey's wife, Lindsay, our daughter, and our oldest daughter, Taylor, were doing a marathon with the Wear Blue Run to Remember organization.
Marine Corps Marathon.
The Marine Corps Marathon. And
Yep.
That same weekend, I had appointments in the Pentagon to talk about some Gold Star things. Long story short, because of John, I got to serve as a civilian advisor to the Chief of Staff of the Army, at the time, General Milley and SMA Daly, and then the follow-on with General McConnell and SMA Grinston. And I got to serve with them and 4 different Sec Armies, 3 different Sec Defs, 1 Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, on all things pertaining to Gold Star families. How do we take care of them? How do we love them? How do we support them? How do we help them understand their features, benefits, and entitlements? Are you a spouse that your spouse was KIA'd or killed in combat? Are you the mom and dad and brothers and sisters? Because there's significantly different features, benefits, and entitlements for each group.
Okay.
So with that said, a Gold Star family is a family that lost a loved one while serving in the line of duty, active duty in a foreign land that was killed by enemy fire.
Or the action of an enemy.
Or the action of an enemy. So that's the not written in concrete anywhere, but that's what the DOD's and most of the service branches definition is. From there, we have the next. So we have Gold Stars. So those are the ones again that their loved one was killed while serving in a foreign land by foreign interdiction. If I guess that's the easiest way to put it. All other deaths fall into the category. Excuse me, that's the wrong term. Come into the categories of training accident,
Right.
or self-inflicted. And now the 4th category that we're looking at and working with are the deaths caused by non-enemy action at the time, but the burn pits, the chemical reactions, the chemical deaths, the cancers that come from being exposed to said issues. And so now there's a pretty strong debate throughout the country about Gold Star, next of kin, training accidents, self-inflicted. And see, we've even to help take away the stigma that has been prevalent in this country for years, we don't call it suicide anymore because suicide has a different connotation and a meaning over the years past. I mean, when I was growing up, I mean, a suicide was you're weak, you can't handle it. I mean, if you remember the movie Patton, when General Patton slaps the young man in the infirmary tent because he's shell-shocked. Okay, it's a brain situation. It's not that he was weak. It's not that he was not able. His brain could not function under that stress. And so today we look at it as more respectfully and take away the stigmas of that to a self-infliction is not automatically a marker that you you couldn't hack it. You couldn't deal with it. It's the fact that, and I truly believe for most cases, we did not help our service members move through that and around that and with that in their lives. It's not a sickness. It's not. It's not. It is a sickness. It's not.
It's not their fault.
It's not their fault. It's not.
That's true. Not all wounds are visible, and that's a really big topic. I mean, we could spend another whole podcast on just the 22 a day that we lose to self-inflicted wounds.
As they were saying that,
back.
I was thinking that may be something we want to cover in one of our upcoming episodes. As a licensed clinical social worker who works for the Department of the Veterans Affairs, that's what I see and work with. So,
yeah.
Boots, what were you going to ask? What were you going to ask them when he was wrapping that up, or do you remember?
I lost it. It doesn't
But
matter.
I have a question. Wendall, do you ride the run or no? Okay.
I do not, but I got a feeling it's in my future.
Awesome.
I hope so.
Well,
as a merchandise driver.
Hey, let's go.
Oh, there we go.
Let's go. I love it. All right, so I'm going to pivot a little bit because we're almost at the 1 hour mark, and we still need to get into.
Well, we don't have to go through those
but
questions.
We do want to give people the opportunity to get to know Corey a bit more, and I mean, we know, one we can definitely skip is probably the why do you ride or who do you ride for.
Yeah, we know that.
We know that one.
How did you find your way to Run for the Wall, Corey?
Through my involvement with Patriot Guard.
Can you shift the camera a little bit towards you? Because we're still mostly looking at half faces. There you go.
Yeah.
I'll move.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. So my involvement with the Patriot Guard.
Okay.
That's how I found out about Run for the Wall.
And when was that?
A lot of guys I ride with on PGR missions. Most of them. Some of them aged out, but yeah, PGR.
So
yeah, we have a strong PGR presence here in northern Arizona.
When was your FNG year?
2023.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Rookie.
Yeah, so that's 2023 Southern route.
Okay, and you're going to go on Southern again this year?
Yes.
All right. I know you didn't ride last year.
Correct.
Okay.
And so you are on the board of directors.
Yes.
What other positions have you held in that time? Were you one of the people who got thrown a job like F&G year? Like, you know what? Hey, you come do this thing.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. My platoon leader, they had to split platoons, and the assistant platoon leader had to go. And my platoon leader called me up and said, "Hey, I need you to ride next to me." That was on my FNG year. Just amazing experiences. Definitely had a number of people after the run for 2024. Will you please be a platoon leader? Will you please be my tail gunner? And a buddy of mine saw the posting for secretary and the Oregon State captain of the Patriot Guard. And he said, "You ought to apply for this." I'm like, I wrote it once. I'm not, there's no way. I don't know enough. But, lucky that I was able to fill a role in the board that, at that time, I definitely didn't have a lot of Run for the Wall experience, but, I could fill a role that didn't need 7 years of experience. And just so honored to be here. So yeah,
I think that's really important for people to hear you share as the treasurer position. It's coming open.
Yeah.
No one, for those of you who are out there thinking like, oh, I've only done it for 2 years, 3 years, or I haven't been around long enough. Surely they want someone who's been here since early 2000s to have this position. That's not necessarily the case.
It is not. Yeah, that's not necessarily true. A treasurer position, is, like you were saying earlier, is incredibly important. I think you need to know more about accounting and bookkeeping than you need to know
Yeah,
about
that's for sure.
because we'll take care of the rest,
Right.
right?
Yep.
The chairman, and all the other members of the board will take care of all that other stuff. And that was my case as well. That, coming in as secretary, I could do the secretary stuff pretty easily, but didn't need tons of experience.
So, what role are you going to be filling on the Southern Route this year?
It all depends on what Lenny asks me to do. Right
Oh,
now, I'm not doing anything. But I do see that there are several volunteer positions, like a number of tail gunners positions still need to be filled. And so I didn't volunteer for anything this year because I thought, well, I already kind of volunteered for a big thing with the board. Do I need to get more involved? Well, of course, because we need all the volunteers we can get. So I think a big part for me was I wanted to remain super flexible, and if Lenny needed something from me, didn't matter what I could contribute, but I would be available to contribute if needed. Next year, who knows? Maybe a platoon leader, maybe assistant platoon leader, work my way up. So,
all right.
Cool.
How do you prepare physically and emotionally for the run?
well, emotionally, I'm a basket case, so I don't try to.
I cannot.
In that Run for the Wall movie, the one that they put out on Facebook, the one that's like an hour long, I think it's called All the Way. When that guy says, "I'm going to ride with you across the country, I'm going to cry with you across the country," and all that, I thought, wow, is that really true? Are we gonna be teary eyed across the country? Absolutely. I don't think I've cried more on my motorcycle than. So, how do I prepare? Definitely go out on training rides. I'm not getting any younger. So my riding buddy and I go out on training rides, and I try to ride in all conditions in Oregon. We get them all. But I think the big thing for me is emotionally preparing is to remember why I'm riding. And I think the emotional part for me has always been try to absorb why others are riding. It's not about, and I think that's a big thing. It's not about me. It's never been about me. It's been about how can I contribute personally to something that's way bigger than all of us.
yeah. Right on.
Boots, you want to take the next one?
Let's see. What's your favorite Run for the Wall stop or experience?
That's so hard. Withville is an amazing experience. Colorado City, amazing experience. I think the biggest impression for me was the first stop that we made, the first overnight, and I can't remember what the name of that city is in Arizona. That Southern Route stops on the first night. That to see the show of support, because you don't really experience that until that first big stop. And funny story was, it was so hot in Arizona that the soles of my boots came unglued and fell off when we got to the gravel parking lot at that first dinner stop. And here I am trying to control my bike. I'm a new guy. I don't want to dump it. The soles of my boots have fallen off. I'll never forget that. And I think part of the experience and part of what makes every stop special is that outpouring. I never expected to see so many people and the roads just lined with flags. I mean, they're just as far as you
It's
can
such
see
a good
flags.
feeling, right?
Getting into the parking lot,
Isn't it? I love that.
you're ducking flags. I mean, people are, amazing. So I don't think I have a favorite stop, Ted. But Withville definitely is. That is an amazing experience when the entire town comes out, or St. Clairsville on Sandbox.
On Sandbox, that's a great stop.
That is just, I mean, talk about being funneled through like, the most visually surreal experience that you've had. I mean, you can barely get your bike through the crowd. There's so many people. It's just unbelievable.
And the town itself is like pure Americana.
Yeah, it looks like a Norman Rockwell. Who said that?
Yeah, it's like It's like being in a Norman Rockwell picture.
Yep.
And that town is it just takes your breath away. And we're there on Sandbox route on Memorial Day on Monday.
Yeah.
And it's just it was such a tremendous experience. That's a great stop.
Yeah, and the Flight 93 Memorial is that's a stop that just
heartbreaking.
Yeah, it kind of takes your breath away.
Mm-hmm.
And to hear the stories that the park rangers tell, and to see these battle hardened bikers coming and just bawling, it is truly an experience that I wish every person, if we could get every person who rides a bike in America to do the Run for the Wall, of course it'd be crazy, but that is an experience I wish everybody could have, because it re-energized my faith in there is good and there are good people everywhere who respect those who serve.
You really do get to see that on Run for the Wall. Are you both doing Sandbox this year?
My riding buddy David and I, yes,
Boots,
we are both.
Are you doing Sandbox this year?
I'm not doing Sandbox this year.
I'm still.
And I have to do Sandbox, right? John's on the wall and Marcel, so
yeah. All right, so
but he's also
go ahead.
Also on the wall here in 10 miles away. So these guys, they're everywhere.
All right, so I'm trying to see something here with this one. Best meal on Run for the Wall.
Don't say McDonald's.
No. Why would he say that, Wendall? Why would he say that?
Well, we did have McDonald's breakfast in I think it was
oh, that's true. We did.
Where is that?
It was on Sandbox.
Yeah, and in Texas. That stopped just up Grand Prairie. In Grand Prairie, Texas, we had McDonald's breakfast burritos, which is fine. The Moose Lodge in Withville. That was I was just stunned that the dinner stop. I was just stunned to see that community had provided a steak dinner for 200 plus riders. I mean, come on, that's just it just goes above and beyond what I could ever have imagined. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But they're
right.
Awesome.
Now, do you have any, since you were just an FNG a couple of years ago, do you have any kind of tips for FNGs or tips for all riders kind of rolled into one?
I was talking to my riding buddy, David, and on the FNG year, you're taught to, you're not taught, but you hear these stories about FNGs trying to, absorb the run. And you will, as an FNG, you will absorb a lot, but you'll miss a lot as you try to kind of keep your emotions in check. I think the advice I would give is, as an FNG, don't try to absorb the run. Just let the run happen to you. Just let that magic happen. And you'll get your own experiences. I tried to drink it all in. It was too much. It was too emotional, my FNG year. Don't try to drink it all in. Just try to experience what the run is going to give to you. which is what I'm really looking forward to this year is being able to look around, because as an FNG, you're tunnel vision. I don't want to hit the bike in front of me. Oh heavens, I'm in the missing man formation. I don't want to mess that up. There's so much to absorb. Don't try to absorb it at your FNG year. Absorb it the next years.
Yeah. Good. Great.
All right. What is your road name, and how'd you get it? This is probably my favorite question.
My road name is so to go back, I went to the same high school that John did, Sunset, in Beaverton.
Years ago.
Why
Yeah.
you do this to you?
Yeah. A long time. But you gotta go back to the 80s for this guy. And there was a great dance group. The women's dance group was called the Sun Flares.
Okay.
They were awesome. There was a bunch of idiots called the Sun Bears.
And you were one of the idiots?
And I was one of the idiots.
Got it.
You had to actually be a successful idiot. And so at the halftime at basketball games, the Sun Bears dressed like think Animal House, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
In togas and wigs and whatever stupid things you could do. And we had a dance that the Sun Flares taught us that we unsuccessfully would do at halftime at the Sunset High School basketball games. So my road name is Sun.
So you all performed more than once? You did it at all the games?
We performed at every home game. Oh my
goodness.
And now, about 3 years after I was a Sun Bear, the school district shut it down because it was just such a debacle. But we had fun. It was a high school thing.
That's good. That's a good story. I like that.
Great memories. So Sun Bear, that's my road.
Great.
So while you guys were out on the wide with him, maybe I'm just saying there might be a rendition.
I was going to say have him show up in a toga.
I'm just saying, it's the father-in-law's dream to see a piece of footage come back.
I'll dig up. There are pictures in the yearbook. I'll dig up some pictures.
Oh man,
that's funny.
All right, what do you ride?
I ride a 21 Goldwing.
Are Goldwings fast?
They are fast.
Okay, I just checked.
Apparently, there's a big thread on the forum.
I know. That's an inside joke for everybody. You can see it. It's all on the forum. Forum.rftw.us.
Wait, someone asked that?
It's a friendly rivalry between Goldwing riders and Harley riders and BMW riders. We all, like to kid each other about their bikes, but it's all good. It's all good.
Y'all are there.
Yeah, it's all in good fun. And I think the biggest thing is, it's not about what you ride. It's about.
It's not. It's really not. That's not the focus of the run. The run. We're about the mission, and but still, we have fun doing it, and it's fun to to tease each other a little bit about parts falling off per bike or whatever.
Absolutely, and I think that just draws us together is the battering and the camaraderie that the different bikes bring.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun.
All right, so that brings us to Tech Tips with Ted. What do we have today?
Bam! All right, so today I'm going to go back because we're now like 2 months. We're in this window now where we're heading into Run for the Wall 35. Okay, and so we're coming down. We're coming down the fast lane into Run for the Wall. So I wanted to talk again about hydration. Because, we talked about it months ago and I got a few questions because some of the guys said, hey, what's your problem with 5 hour energy? Well, that's actually not hydration. That's energy. And I don't have a problem with 5 hour energy. But before I talk about 5 hour energy, I want to talk a little bit about hydration because I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated on a motorcycle. I have suffered by my own fault being dehydrated twice. And I can tell you, once you get to that point, you got no business being on a motorcycle for the next day or day and a half. It's that bad. So use electrolytes. Now, electrolytes are comprised of a bunch of minerals that are essential to your body that you sweat out. Using electrolytes will keep you sharp. And I tell you this, start now. And I'm going to get a little bit graphic here. One of the main components in electrolytes is magnesium. Okay. It's really important to your brain. It's important to keeping your body hydrated and helping you maintain that water in, that hydration in your system. If you just drink water, that's not enough, because that can lead to another situation called hyponatremia, which you basically eliminate all of the minerals out of your system, and you can still, that can actually be lethal. But the magnesium-rich electrolytes are really, really good, and you kind of need to build up a little bit of a tolerance to them, because while you can't have too much magnesium, if you do have too much magnesium and your system isn't used to it, it will find its way out, normally in the form of you got to run to the bathroom now, if you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to get any more graphic than that. Use your imagination. But if you've ever had a little bit too much magnesium, you know that feeling of urgency where you got to go now, like right now. And that's the last thing that you want to have happen when you're 50 miles in between a 100-mile leg on Run for the Wall, and suddenly your electrolytes kick in. That's why I say start now by having electrolytes. Have some every single day. I do. And that builds up that tolerance so that magnesium, your body becomes used to it, and you can have magnesium-rich electrolytes without having that after effect. Also, your body will naturally have that tendency to be able to withstand higher temperatures or longer stints without sipping water, and it'll just lead to a more comfortable run for the wall for you. So that's electrolytes, and there's so many out there. From the Gatorades, and the Pedialyte is actually pretty good. Powerade, those tend to have a little bit too much sugar in them. But also there's these tablets that I use that you can drop in a bottle of water. It's called Noom, and you can get those on Amazon. And then there's also some really special, more expensive stuff that's more aimed at people who are like endurance athletes. But you'd need to go to a sporting goods store for that. Something probably a little bit more than a Big Five. But you can look online. A lot of triathletes and distance runners use that kind of stuff, like Neuromag, things like that. But about 5 Hour Energy, I want to talk about the energy drinks for a minute. That's pretty good in the afternoon to keep yourself sharp. One of the best things you can do at lunch is eat a light lunch. When I eat a heavy lunch on the motorcycle, I get sleepy in the afternoon. When I eat a light lunch and maybe follow that up with an energy drink, like you could do a cup of coffee, you could do a Red Bull or a Monster Energy or a 5 Hour Energy. But again, with these energy drinks that are really high caffeine and other things, don't try it for the first time. This is what I said. Mm-hmm. Don't try it for the first time on Run for the Wall, because sometimes, a 5 Hour Energy or a Red Bull Monster Energy will have a negative effect on your system. Try it now. Make sure you can tolerate it, because that high caffeine can cause your heart to pound. It can give you the shakes or the jitters. Also, it can have an interaction with some medications that different individuals take. Everybody is different. The point I'm making is make sure that you're not trying it for the first time on Run for the Wall. Try it now. Go for a ride. Like Corey said, the best thing you can do is get out and ride. Get your butt in shape, get your legs in shape, get your upper body in shape, because sitting on a bike holding those handlebars for 8-9 hours a day, it's different than sitting at a desk and, twiddling your pencil around. So try this stuff out. If you want to try a 5 Hour Energy, go take a ride with some buddies, try a 5 Hour Energy, see how it feels in your system so that you know what to expect when you try it on Run for the Wall. One other note on 5 Hour Energies. They come in these bottles that are about 3 inches high, 2.5 inches high, and they're a little round, and it has a big 5 on it. Guess what also comes in a bottle about the same size and has a 5 on it? Octane booster. I know you're laughing, but several years ago on Run for the Wall, we had a rider who was very, very fatigued in the afternoon. And this rider carried 5-Hour Energy and also carried Octane Booster. It has a 5 on it because it treats 5 gallons of gas.
Oh.
And that rider, in the tiredness and the state of fatigue, pulled that Octane Boost out, thinking it was 5-Hour Energy, and downed it and darn near died. Had to be rushed to the hospital, stomach pump and everything. So keep those things separate. And if you do carry both, be extra, extra, extra careful that you don't drink Octane Boost instead of 5-Hour Energy.
Yikes.
That's Tech Tips with Ted.
That's really scary. Corey, you were trying to say something. What was it that you wanted to add? To what?
Oh, two things. I love what Ted said. Number one, none of us are getting any younger, so consult with your doctor.
Yep.
But the very first time I tried 5-Hour Energy and I got it from this guy.
Why does that not surprise me?
Was I took half of it. And the very first time, exactly what Ted said, I got the jitters and I got the shakes, and I wasn't riding. I was just doing yard work. And I came in and my wife's like, what is going on? I said, I had one of those 5-Hour Energies. And she's like, you did not.
Did you tell her where you got it from?
She knew. She knew. But I love the idea, and I bring that military energy gum, MEG, and it's like 100 milligrams of caffeine per little gum.
I've never heard of that. That's cool.
Yeah, you can find it on Amazon. It's great. I use that because there's less sugars than like a normal energy drink. Military energy gum, there are several flavors. Amazon, you can buy like a 30-pack of them. Then that works really well for me. And I take one of those at 10 a.m. on the run. And so the caffeine hit peaks right about 2 p.m., gets me through the afternoon. And I think any of those options is good, but check with your doctor too.
Yep. Good advice.
Wendall, do you have anything to add regarding 5-Hour Energies or energy drinks?
Yes.
Tilt the camera towards him, please. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Now I got you.
So I'm an athlete.
Okay.
I'm 65, about to turn 66. I play a high level of racquetball. I've had 16 surgeries from all the things that I've done in my life as an athlete. Okay. And so I've learned over the last number of years what to put in my body and what not to put in my body. A magnesium supplement is one of the things that I take every day now. It helps with some mental acuity. It helps with, the hydration issues because I'm not a water drinker. I just have never been. And so when you look at 5-Hour, so 5-Hour Energy is a specific brand in this cute little bottle. There are a number of knockoffs that have similar characteristics. To your guys' thought process, they are well received by your body at the appropriate times and with the appropriate nutrition. If you drink them on an empty stomach, thinking that you're just going to get on your bike and ride for 5 hours, you're absolutely out of your effing mind. You will have bathroom stops that you didn't want to have bathroom stops for.
That's the point.
Yes, sir. And it's dangerous because that leads to its own set of dehydration issues.
Yes.
Concentration issues. If you got to go to the bathroom and you're in the pack.
How do you pull off and not disrupt the entire 45, 55, 100 bikes behind you?
Or hit somebody.
Right. And so I use one that is a completely generic and completely herbal. Comes in a little 5-hour bottle, looks like a 5-hour bottle, but it's not, by another manufacturer, and amazing. I mean, I love them. They give you that a little elevation, and it's sustained, and so it doesn't, when it's over-ish. It doesn't drop you off like you're running over a cliff. It brings you back down to what we would consider normal by normal folks, which is something that I've never been, so I can't speak to it. What normal looks like. I sit down at the table and I'm amped. My legs over here going, so, but that's just my DNA. That's just my makeup. So I would follow the counsel that Boots you put out there. I would be and Corey put out there. I would be very aware of my own body, about my own structure. I would definitely have a conversation with my doc and just say, hey, here's what I'm about to do. Here's what I normally consume on an average day. What do I need to supplement that with naturally, an herbal, if possible, to give me that sustained energy without the boost, the highs, the lows, the crashes, so that I can be safe with my brothers and sisters.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that input. Did you say what the name of the one you use is?
I can if you would like.
I mean, sure.
It's a Melaleuca product, which is a direct marketing company out of Idaho. And I buy them, and I'll get Corey a bottle that he can shoot to you guys a picture of.
Yeah.
And it's not anywhere near the same cost of a 5-hour. And like I said, I love them. I don't drink them every day, but like tomorrow I'm going to play racquetball at 0800, and I want to be sustained and I want to play like a madman. So I'll amp up to play for 2.5, 3 hours.
And here's the gum that I was talking about, Ted.
So there's the caffeine gum. Yeah. Thank you for sharing us that.
Yes, caffeine gum. Yeah, that's all it is.
Perfect.
Yeah, this works for me. And for me, I like to stay away from all the sugars. So there's sugar in there.
Not as much. Perfect.
Not as much.
All right. So that does it for Tech Tips with Ted. And listener letter. I know we had a couple of people give us feedback on the trifolds, but I guess that's a non-starter since there are no more to send out. But thank you for getting us that feedback. But Boots, you also got a letter regarding a mount, a rock form mountain. You said that you would talk about it in the podcast.
You know what? I'm not prepared to talk about it today, so we're going to do it next time.
I will leave that on the agenda. So that is totally...
Yeah, put it on next time.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's episode. Does anyone have anything else?
Corey, Wendall, thank you so much for coming on. If you have anything else to add it now.
I would, if you don't mind, grateful for the opportunity to share John's story.
Yeah.
When we speak, I have the privilege of speaking all over the country to veterans and organizations. And, the question that always comes up is, how do you deal with it? And I think I've gotten it down to a pretty simple answer. And it is, for me, not Corey, not Lindsay, not Taylor, not our other children, not my wife, not my grandbabies, but for me, out of the most difficult, painful, system-shocking news from the casualty notification team have come, other than my wife and my children, have come the most amazing blessings that I would ever have imagined for any human being. I didn't get to serve active duty. I didn't get to put the uniform on. And yet, for the past John's been gone 11 years. So for the past 8 of those, I'm actively engaged in the veteran community. I'm actively engaged in the big Army and actively engaged in the special operations world on how we take care of Gold Star families, how we take care of our veterans. Their needs are very specific in relationship to the general population of the country. Civilians, they try and understand. And I say this with all my heart. God bless them for that. They want to be helpful. They want to know. And podcasts like yours allow you to share some of those glimpses into what we do and why we do it. John's legacy and the legacy of all of our fallen and all those who are active duty is such a blessing in all of our lives if we allow it. And so we should take their service, their sacrifice, our service, our sacrifice to the building up of the nation's trust and faith in our military to do the right things at the right times to support the freedoms that we enjoy. If we lived in another country, this wouldn't have happened. If we lived in another country, your ability to hop on a bike and ride across the country and honor those wouldn't happen. And so, from a dad, a son, a brother, I commend you and thank you very much for it. So with that said, one of the traditions that Live Like John has is every year we have a major fundraiser. It's a racquetball game, racquetball tournament, because John's last Facebook post, the end, was right before he went on this mission. I can't wait to play racquetball again.
Yeah. I saw the tournament on the website.
Yeah, it's so cool. We hold probably the 4th or 5th largest tournament in the country, probably the 7th or 8th largest in the world, right here in Portland, Oregon. It's just the bomb. And so our trophy tournament, or a tournament for our trophy, is a military tradition, the challenge coin. So this year, our theme, it's always, sorry folks, love you all, but it's always been an Army theme.
Nothing wrong with that.
So, green hoodies, desert tan hoodies, black for West Point, So this year's event was in honor of our Purple Heart recipients. So we commissioned an artist to come up with a Purple Heart for the tournament. And then we took that and sent it down to the Special Operations world and asked their approval, because we don't want to just to take away from the beauty and the sanctity of the Purple Heart Award. So if you can see this, hold it super close.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Oh, my goodness.
So that was the rendition. So on the tournament championship court, and then on the backside, we always have,
oh, my goodness,
on his way to Afghanistan. So we always have the main wall of the court, and you'll see it on the website. This year, we put up 227 dog tags. They look like a dog tag, and they're 18 inches by 12 inches. And the main court, those were Purple Heart recipients. And so there's the dog tag, and in the upper left-hand corner is the true medal, the award, the Purple Heart. Because we want to make sure that we never forget. We want to make sure that we always remember who and why we are here today, who paved the way for us to do this. So forever grateful for what you do. We'll Corey and I'll talk a little bit more, and then we would like to find a way to help support the run as a sponsor. And so, let's have that conversation at another time. But we believe in what you do. We're grateful for what you do and honored to be a part of it in any way we can. So thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I think that's the perfect way to close out this episode. So if you're looking for more information on Run for the Wall, please join us at the website. You can ask questions, get on the forum, and get all that additional information that you're looking for. And that website is at the bottom of the screen. It's also www.rftw.us. And be social with us.
That's right.
Send us your questions, comments, suggestions. Like send anything to us at pod at rftw.us. So until next time, how far are we going? All the way.
All the way.
All right.
Live like John.
I was going to add that. Live like John. That is going to be the title of today's episode. So live like John. All right, y'all. We are out.
See you, everybody.
Thank you.